see things like that, I think, oh, it's stupid. I've been trying to hold my glass of water still for 40 years, and it doesn't work. And then somebody says, just put it down, let it go. That is the awareness and kindness we're talking about. The kindness especially. The compassion, the softness. And it becomes natural and easy. If meditation wasn't easy, I'd have given up a long time ago. Imagine, this is only 47 years as a monk. I was meditating 5 years before that. 52 years of meditation, I still got to meditate. Oh, can't I just have a break? This is the break. This is the easy way. Look, you've all seen me so many times, both here and monastery, and just chatting about, do I really look stressed out? You're relaxed and easy. Look, see, my robe falls off. That's so nice and easy. So what we mean here is this is actually how the lotus becomes still all by itself. How it opens up. And so what happens is that lotus leaves are just kind and aware. Which means the kindness means the awareness can stay with what's happening. I don't know if you've had, children, grandchildren with you. And if you have children or grandchildren, they just, you love them to bits. They tire you out, but you're always happy to see them. And you don't want to wander off somewhere. Why is it that people want to wander off when they're meditating? That was a big thing with me for many, many years. Why? It's not trying to use force. I realized the only reason my mind would wander off when I was meditating because I wasn't happy to be here. I wanted to go somewhere else. Anywhere else. So whatever you're aware of when you're meditating, you ask yourself, am I happy to be here or do I want to be somewhere else? If the answer is the latter, you want to be somewhere else, of course you'll wander off. If you're really happy to be here, you can meditate for hours. Literally. Does that mean I have to determine I'm going to meditate for 4 hours? Then I can maybe get some rope and tie my legs up. That's not how you meditate for hours. Sometimes you just sit here, nice and peacefully, calm, enjoying yourself. And after a while, my goodness, clock's wrong. Clock's not wrong. You're enjoying yourself immensely. You haven't fallen asleep. You're just blissed out. What was that story? Okay. Some meditation stories on this. The monk in Sydney. He was a Vietnamese monk. We try and keep many of these stories reasonably quiet, but because if it was happened of the last week or something, and I mention this, and people trust me that what I say is true, that people would go and try and find out who that monk was, and they'd take him, they'd probably force him to go into some laboratory somewhere, so they can put ECGs and EEGs on him when he was doing crazy stuff. And that's not what we meditate for. But anyway, he started this 9-day meditation retreat over in Sydney. The Vietnamese Theravada monk. And he started like our retreats. We're having a retreat next weekend. Not next weekend, 9 days, starting on the day before Good Friday. I promise I won't do this when I'm there. Otherwise. What he did, the first evening, supposed to have like a talk. Now meditation, then a talk. And then everyone just relax. And then talks and meditation throughout the week. The first meditation, half an hour. And after half an hour meditation, he was still sitting there. He didn't ring the gong. 45 minutes, still sitting there. An hour, still sitting there. 2 hours, still sitting there, hadn't moved. You know what all the people did? They went to bed. They're not going to wait for him. And after 2 hours, when they got up in the morning, he hadn't moved. Still sitting there. Breakfast, he didn't have any breakfast. He was still sitting there. The morning talk after breakfast, still sitting there. He just remained in one position, not moving at all, for 8 of those 9 days. Didn't go to the toilet, didn't drink any water, didn't eat anything. Perfectly still. And that's true. And after, when he came out of his meditation, he apologized. He said, I'm terribly sorry, because I got into really, really deep meditation. And, I didn't give you any talks. It was such a rare thing to see. There were all the people that said, no, you didn't need to give a talk. It was just so inspiring just to see that people can still do this these days. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, by the way, means awesome. So, it was inspiring. But how does that happen? It hasn't moved since I put it down. No effort. You get into such joy and peace. You don't want to move. Sometimes you can't move. Having the time of your life. But sometimes people feel scared. I can't understand why people feel scared when these states start to arrive and you start to grow into them. What are you scared about? You're having the time of your life. Wonderful. It's beautiful. It's great. If anyone else is worried about that because you can't go to work, who cares about work? Wouldn't you like to have these deep meditations rather than go to work? You can figure it out afterwards. But anyway, just when the mindfulness and the kindness gets so beautiful, you're staying there. And it's some meditation practices, they don't do enough of the kindness. And their speech can be a bit sort of harsh to their family members and to themselves and to others, especially to themselves. The kindness, the softness, the gentleness which is required for deep meditation, you haven't practiced it. You haven't practiced like being like a lotus. People call you an idiot. They call you just the greatest monk ever lived. And sometimes people believe that. So instead you just let that all go. You're a lotus, it all falls off you. Which means you have the kindness and the peace for yourself. Which means that when you meditate, whatever happens in the meditation, you don't praise it, you don't get excited that great things are happening. You don't get afraid that, what's going to happen to me? This is one of the reasons why meditating teachers, monks and nuns, why we have to always guarantee for you. The only thing you're possible to lose through deep meditation is your hair. In other words, you like being monks or nuns. Why not? Wonderful lifestyle. Anyway, so back to the 1,000-petal lotus. As you go deeper and deeper in, it's the mindfulness and the kindness which open you up. So you start with your body. And the body gets so relaxed, it doesn't make any business. So it disappears from your radar screen, if you like. And then what comes next? Now you go into your mind, and the next thing which comes up is time. Because in our mind, it's not our body, our mind is obsessed with this thing which we call time, the past and the future. And we just spend so much of our life in those two extremes, the past and the future. And then we go inside of that layer of petals called past and future opens up. We're in this present moment. And the best way to get into that present moment is just awareness and kindness. You're kind enough to the past to forgive it. You're kind enough to the future to, where is it? Present tomorrow. Don't worry, be happy. I said, no, that's just causing too much force on you to try to be happy. Don't worry, be hopey. I made that adjustment. Hope for the best, be positive for the future. It's more chance it will happen. But anyway, so then you go into this present moment. And then, after a while, with mindfulness and kindness, the present moment petals open up. And inside of that is silence. The mind is not thinking. It doesn't need to think. perfectly aware, but not giving names or concepts or conversations to itself. You know. Just like that. Silence. And silence, I've had so many wonderful, beautiful experiences in silence. Both, with my eyes open, often with my eyes closed in meditation. The most beautiful sound in the world is silence. No business. And then, weird, but it happens. The next thing which usually happens is that lotus petal of silence opens up. And then you're with your breathing, your breath. The reason is because that's still moving, you're still breathing. But it's so quiet and calm, it's gorgeous. As you go deeper into the lotus, those petals are more beautiful. And then the breath starts to open up. The breath, not just an in-breath and out-breath, but just breath. No difference. You're right in this moment. You don't know whether it's an in-breath or an out-breath. It's just breath. That's an important part of the meditation. For those of you who doubt me, that's, with Suddhimagga, that's where Acharya Buddhaghosa starts saying it's like a saw. A saw cutting wood. Up and down, like in and out breath. But after a while you focus. All you see is just one or two teeth of the saw. And that tiny bit of wood which is being cut. You don't see the beginning and the end of the saw. No more you see the beginning and the end of a breath. This is a little part of breath happening now. That's how focused you become. Naturally. You don't do this by willpower. You do it with kindness and awareness. This is a beautiful thing to understand, which means that you don't have to think, oh, I can't do this. This is way above me, my pay grade. But no, this is just what happens. As you're kind and aware, it just opens up and this is there. You don't disturb anything. And then, because that breath isn't doing very much, then the breath vanishes. And what happens next? The next layers of petals are beautiful. These are what we call the nimittas. These beautiful lights which appear in the mind. All sorts of amazing colours. And more simple the better. So you get maybe, just complicated nimittas. They're still gorgeous. If you're not, experience quite a large amount of bliss, it's not the real nimittas. You come out even just after nimittas, where you're like walking on air. Nimittas is just a party name for these things. Gorgeous lights in the mind. And they're really sometimes quite strange. One of the nice things about the nimittas is, which really sets them apart, is whatever colour they are, there's not the sort of intensity which you can see in the external world. You're not seeing them through your eyes. This is a mental image. It's where the five senses have started to decrease in power. And the sixth sense, your mind, a totally separate sense space, is becoming powerful. And so the colours you see, it's just like I'm just seeing the blue in your blanket over there. It's like more blue than that blue. More blue than any blue you've ever seen in the world. Yellows, which are just so gorgeously yellow that you can't see a yellow like that in any painting or any sort of colour charts in the hardware store. Unworldly colours. And very powerful. Very blissful. When people get afraid, and one of the reasons you get afraid is because, you haven't been there before. And it's also, you realise it's powerful. More powerful than you. So you have to let go of your sense of control and self. You're totally safe. So just let it happen. It's wonderful, it's good, and there's never any negative consequences to this. But beautiful consequences. So you get nimittas. Those nimittas get very still. Go into the lotus. What do? Mindfulness and kindness, that's all. It's beautiful kindness, looking on your body and mind with beautiful, soft, gentle, peaceful, accepting eyes. And just being there. You don't need any effort because it's just too gorgeous. And then they go into those nimittas. And that's where you go into some of the really deep petals inside your lotus. And that's what we call the jhanas. I don't usually mention that word here. And sometimes I mention that so often in the monastery. And when I do a talk to the monks, when I don't mention the jhanas, I never mention the jhanas. I did that last week, I think. And then the monks say, you just mentioned them. But I say you didn't. Anyway, so these are powerful states of mind. Brilliant, beautiful states of mind. And to be quite honest with you, I'm sure that Ajahn Brahm will come up with this when he gets into this in his Eightfold Path. When the Buddha said, they asked, what type of meditation did the Buddha praise? What type of meditation did the Buddha do? This is in the Gopaka Moggallana Sutta. He said, only 4, said Ananda. The Buddha only did and praised 4 types of meditation. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And then one of the other suttas, Pasadika Sutta, I'll finish soon, saying that the Buddha was telling another monk, look, if some of the other people, they say, oh, you monks, you're just into pleasure. Because the monks and the nuns at that time were happy. They were joyful, they were smiling a lot. So you must, where do you get your pleasure from, monks? He said, no, not from the world. But you enjoy things? He said, some things. What do you enjoy? And he says, we don't enjoy the pleasures of the 5 senses, but the pleasures of the mind, the deep meditations. We really indulge in that. We get off on it. And if the people accuse you of that, you say, yeah, that's true, said the Buddha. So what happens? What happens to you? If you go so deep into your lotus, you start to experience these deep, powerful meditations. Joyful, blissful, deep, the jhanas. What happens to you? And the Buddha said, well, only 4 things can happen. Either stream winning, once returning, non-returning, or full enlightenment. 4 stages of enlightenment. That's what the Buddha said. Verbatim. So if you want to be enlightened, enjoy it. Go for it. See what happens. Bliss out. When I actually discovered that, I said, wow, what a wonderful way of spiritual development. Bliss upon bliss upon bliss. Oh. Thank you for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm sure I must get some questions after that talk. Any questions from the floor? Yeah, where? Somewhere. Oh, Ho Chin, yeah. Very good. Oh, can you get okay. What's your question? I'll repeat it. A comment, yeah? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's to be mentally prepared for this job.
Yeah.
Don't worry, be happy, whatever happens.
Who knows what might happen? Very good. Oh, thank you, Hochi. If it was perceived as blame, remember it's just like you or I, and be the lotus, let it fall off you. Anyway, for Switzerland, something beginner's question, USA, Germany, Singapore, Ireland, my goodness. I'm going to start for the last one first. From Ireland. My dearest Ajahn Brahm, how can you tell when you have actually meditated and not simply wasted an hour? That's an easy one. You never waste time when you're meditating. There's a piece of advice my first meditation teacher taught me when I was still a layperson. He said, there is no such thing as a bad meditation. I said, you don't know how I meditate, do you? especially when you're a layperson. And he said, no, there's no such thing as a bad meditation. Little by little, even just sitting down and even fantasizing or thinking all sorts of stupid thoughts, you're getting to know your mind. You're getting to be with it. And little by little, slow or fast, you realize that the best thing to fantasize about is nothing at all. And the silence of the mind beats everything. I told someone today, then why did you become a monk? Pretty obvious, meditation. So you never waste an hour, or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, or whatever. There's no such thing as a bad meditation. And the other little thing about that question, first year I started meditating, I did a lot. This was when I was a student. Second year, well, there's many other things you've got to do as a student. You're playing around. But I didn't do so much. I remember, I cannot recall exactly where this was, but I know I was having a cup of coffee somewhere and in front of this German fellow. And he said, oh, he meditated as well. I said, I used to meditate quite a bit, but not so much these days. He said, why not? I said, well, meditation's not really working. I said that, I remember. And then what really hit me and changed my course back onto real big meditation, he said, well, at the end of every meditation, if you ask yourself, instead of just getting up, it's not working today, ask yourself, do I feel better now than when I first started? And I said, hey, I never did that before, and I often do that. Even when I do the guided meditations, I ask you, how do you feel right now? What does peace feel like? How does your body feel relaxed? And you find even what you thought were bad meditation were actually pretty positive. And that just got me going again into my meditation practice. And of course it really takes off now. From Singapore. During meditation, often negative emotion of memories that I try to forget surface again. And it's very uncomfortable. What should I do? What's the answer? Mindfulness and kindness. Be kind to those negative emotions of your past. That's the best way to let go of your past, by softening it with kindness, first of all. Especially the negative emotions, something which happened to you. You think, did I really deserve that? Probably not. Should I get angry at the person who did that to me? Probably not. That poor person, I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they, like I think I said last week or 2 weeks ago, I said it somewhere, about the person sent to get eggs from the market, hitting themselves on. No, this kid was abusing them when they went to the market. Was it here 2 weeks ago? Yeah, you got good memory. And this husband was abused by a person in the marketplace in public, never met him before in his life, and was eventually told by his wife that he does that to everybody because when he was young, a boy, he fell over and hit his head, his brain damaged. And that's why he curses and swears at people. And the meaning of that story is, if someone swore at you this last week or cursed you, they must be brain damaged. Tell that to your boss. And there's truth to that. No one in their right mind would curse or swear or tell another person that, you're lazy, you're hopeless, you're a slob or whatever. Who would ever do that to anybody, even if you don't know them? It doesn't make any sense to me, honestly. So anyway, negative emotions and memories come up. Don't try to forget them. Just be kind to them. And be aware they're coming up, be kind to them, and they lose their power. When you try to get rid of them, negative to them, you give them power. From Germany, Ajahn, are we all one being, or how can our thoughts and feelings have an impact on others far away? You once say we are none. What do you mean by that? Thank you. I was referring to the bhikkhunis. They're nuns. No, that's not what I meant. But no, people have wonderful ideas that we're all connected. But I turn my internet off very often. I like to be disconnected. and then connect up again. So tonight I'm connecting with you, I hope. But once you go home, and I go into my room, I'm disconnecting. So I can be peaceful and still. And when you actually learn how to disconnect, not always connect with others, you realize that most of your life you're with yourself. Much more than you're with anybody else. And the last person you see before you go to sleep at night is you. You may have a partner laying next to you. You may have their arms wrapped around you. But nevertheless, before you go to sleep, you're the last person you're aware of. And so much of your life is with you. And that's one of the reasons why one of the best persons in this world to love is yourself. If you know how to do that, it's very easy to love others. So anyway, that is the best person to love. You're not always connected. You're not always one being. Are you connected with everyone in this universe? With Donald Trump? With... Why did you laugh? Poor Donald Trump. So you have the choice to connect, but you can relax and disconnect. And even disconnect from yourself as well. Let's go in the deep meditations. From the USA. If everyone is equal in Buddhism, why do you call female monks bhikkhuni or nuns? Why not refer to them as monks as well? Why don't you set the example, Ajahn Brahm? Yes. Why do they call themselves nuns? They should call themselves monks. But sometimes we need to have skillful means so we know which toilet to go in. Or do we want it so that we don't have any sort of gender discrimination in the toilets? So we do that? Just talk with the next president next year. We want to renovate the toilets, don't we, Dennis? Okay. No. Everyone is everyone equal? You know, that's one of the things with the US Constitution. The first verse is that, well, this is obviously wrong. Now, all beings are created equal. First of all, created equal. Beings are not created equal. The obvious thing is that they should be given equal respect. Equal opportunities, yes. Then, we call it equity. If a person needs something, they should not be discriminated on because of their gender, because of their race, because of their age, because of their thinness or fatness, because of their religion, or their race especially. I can't understand race. Did you know that I'm in my DNA, I'm mostly Asian? Honestly, I don't lie. I'm Asian. Caucasian. Okay. So is Donald Trump is Asian as well. Caucasian. Set the example, Ajahn Brahm. Of course I set examples. Even Donald Trump sets examples. Bad examples. Good examples. I tried my best. A last question. Why is it not enough to simply apply the teachings to daily life? Thank you. I hope this question isn't too silly. Can you apply the teachings to daily life? Sometimes daily life applies its own teachings to you. And sometimes you're not in control. So that's one of the reasons we think that we can do things. We apply things. And a lot of times, the more you try and control life by applying this and applying that, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, the last simile, I haven't told this for a long time, but I'm in the mood, is the simile of the driverless bus. Did I say that in the last few weeks? No. Because I remember this was many years ago. I think I remember this time. This was about 30 years ago, I think. Yeah, about 30 years ago. Before we had this hall, it's in the other hall. I told this story of the driverless bus. This is life. So sometimes it's like you're in a... This is way before Google had the idea. I should have... what was it called? I got the copyright for the idea. Yeah, anyway. So life is like you're in a bus, like the journey. And sometimes you go through some beautiful territory. Waterfalls and gardens and sun. It's just so amazingly beautiful, your life. And you tell your bus driver, slow down. Park, stop, I want to enjoy this beautiful scenery. What does your bus driver do? Speeds up. So all your happy times, they don't last as long as they should. And then sometimes you're going through the toxic waste dumps of life. And it's terrible scenery. You look out the window, oh, this is disgusting. Get out of here as fast as you can, you tell your bus driver. And what does your bus driver do? Slows down and parks. Why is it when you have terrible situations in life, you lose someone dear to you? Or you have bad sicknesses like cancers. Or you lose your job or something. Or other people in your family, they die and they fall apart. Why do those times last too long? And the good times are just too short. So you decide, what's the fault? The fault is with that stupid bus driver I've got. What is that bus driver? That's, your will, your choice. So you want to teach your bus driver how to drive a bus. So you come to a place like this to learn all the skillful means how to drive your bus through the difficulties of life and get out of the toxic waste dumps and just stop at the beautiful scenic sceneries of life. You want wisdom, kindness, whatever. And so you think, I'm going to go and teach my bus driver how to drive. You've got to find where that bus driver is, first of all. Who chooses, who's in control of what you do? Do you reckon? So that's what meditation does. You find your bus driver's seat deep in that lotus. And there you get one of the biggest shocks of your life. Your bus driver's seat is empty. There's no one there. Anatta, non-self. You understand where all those choices come from. Conditioning. When you realize your bus driver's seat is empty, just go back to your seat. You shut up. There's no one to shout to. Difficult times of life, make peace. Beautiful times of life, make peace. No problem anymore. Nothing to do. The driverless bus, which is you. Do you agree with that? Of course you can't. The reason why is because you haven't found that driver's seat yet. So be prepared. It's a shock, but that's what happens. Yay! Peace at last. Okay, enough, I'll get into more trouble. So anyway, there we go for tonight. So, what we do now? Yes, we do the bowing 3 times. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Suakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano